Hello everybody, welcome back to Reading with Grandma. We're going to continue our story of Ghostville Elementary. We'll see if we can try to finish it today. I'm not too sure. We'll see how long the chapters are. We are on chapter 9, Old Time Band. We could form our own ghost band, Edgar suggested. It could be like the ones we had at the barn raisings. Remember how Uncle Theodore played music and his friends and we all danced? Becky squealed, and Ozzie did a little jig on Mr. Morton's desk. "No," Sadie wailed. "I never learned to play music." Tears the size of marbles ran down Sadie's cheeks and dribbled off her chin. The tears plopped on the floor by her feet and formed a huge green-tinted puddle. "Don't worry," Becky told her. "We'll teach you." Jeff ran between the ghosts. "No, you can't do that." Swirls of green floated all around Jeff as the ghosts disappeared. Ghostly laughter filled the air. "Oh, but we can," Calliope said, "and we will." Jeff, Nina, and Cassidy grabbed their backpacks and started walking home. It was bad enough when Calliope played the fiddle and sang, Nina said. "If they all play instruments, the noise will make me bonkers." Jeff nodded. "They ruined my audition for the play." "Don't worry," Cassidy said. "Calliope has her fiddle, but none of the other ghosts have instruments. What could they possibly do?" The kids found out early the next morning when they saw a ghostly sign etched in the dirt on the window, which read, "Ozzie and the Howlers." Jeff, Nina, and Cassidy were the first kids in the classroom, except for the ghosts. "I can't believe it," Nina said. Jeff couldn't help grinning. After all, the ghosts were very resourceful. Ozzie banged on the bottom of a mop bucket. Nate played spoons that he snitched from left-behind lunchboxes. Becky and Edgar tapped pencils together while Sadie sang. Calliope played her fiddle and Kokomo howled. Poor Huxley looked as upset as the kids. He had his head buried under his paws. Nina tried to get to Huxley, to pet him, but her hand kept going through his body. "What are we going to do now?" Nina asked her friends. "We'll just have to use our acting skills to pretend they aren't here," Jeff said. Cassidy sighed. The band thumped and bumped and screeched. The song sounded a little bit like "Oh, My Darling Clementine." Ignoring them would definitely not be easy. The kids tried. When Mr. Morton talked about the 7 times table, the kids glued their eyes to him. Oops, I missed a page, I think. During spelling and reading, Jeff couldn't help tapping his foot under the desk. Every once in a while, Nina found herself humming along to the old songs the ghosts were singing. Cassidy almost clapped when the ghosts finally decided to take a break. "Now," said Mr. Morton, "let's finish our play tryouts." Nina read for the part of Mama, and lots of kids tried to be little Arliss, since he was the funny one in the story. After the tryouts, Mr. Morton split the class into 2 groups. One group had to choose the best parts from the book they were reading and make them into a play script. The other group designed props and the set for the play. Jeff, Nina, and Cassidy were chosen to write the script. "I wanted to write the play on my own," Jeff said. "I even had a head start." "I wanted to have peace and quiet," Cassidy said. "Those ghosts are driving me crazy with their music." "Shh," Nina said. "Mr. Morton is announcing who gets to be the lead in the play." Jeff held his breath and crossed his fingers as Mr. Morton held up the list of parts. Chapter 10, Cassidy's Plan. "I can't believe Andrew gets to be the star of my play," Jeff complained the next morning on the way to school. "I wanted to be Travis. Instead, I have to be Pa." "Your play?" Cassidy said. "I tried out for the lead and I ended up being a dog." Nina patted Cassidy on the back. "The dog is the most important character," Nina pointed out. Cassidy looked at Nina and growled. "It's not fair," Jeff said. "Andrew doesn't even care about the play." Nina stepped carefully to avoid a big crack in the sidewalk. "It doesn't matter who gets to be Travis. I have a terrible feeling the ghosts are going to ruin the play anyway." Cassidy nodded. "All that Old-fashioned music and banging gave me a really bad headache yesterday, she said. But I have a plan. We could break all their instruments into little pieces, Jeff suggested. No, Cassidy said, I'm talking about a real solution to our extra ghost problem. All we have to do is take the fiddle and the dish back to the Blackburn estate where they belong. Nina nodded. That might work. Calliope and her cat will have to leave with them. That's it, Jeff yelled. Then the other ghosts will forget about putting together a band and things can go back to normal. It's too bad about Calliope, Nina said. I bet she was lonely at the Blackburn estate. Lonely, Jeff snapped. There are probably 1,000,000 ghosts in that haunted house. We have to do this now, Cassidy told her friends, before the ghosts totally ruin our play. But we have to go to school, Nina pointed out. School will just have to wait, Cassidy told her. The kids quietly tiptoed down the back steps into the basement classroom. The lights were still off in the room, which meant Mr. Morton wasn't in school yet. Thankfully, when they eased into the classroom, the ghosts weren't anywhere to be seen or heard. Do you think ghosts sleep? Nina whispered. Cassidy shrugged. Let's just get the fiddle and the dish. Hurry. Jeff quietly scooted Mr. Morton's chair beside the shelf. He stood on the chair and grabbed the ghostly items. Got them, Jeff said. But as soon as Jeff touched the fiddle and dish, the early morning calm was shattered. The lights flashed off and on. The shades snapped up and down. Art supplies threw around the room. Chalk zipped through the air. Nina screamed, Ah! It's a ghost attack! Chapter 11. The air in the classroom seemed to be filled with storm clouds. It boiled and swirled, and it took the shapes of Ozzy and his ghostly crew. This time they didn't look friendly. Ozzy grew 9 feet tall and glared down at the 3 kids. Give them back, Ozzy howled, causing a wind that made pictures sway and papers fly off desks. Jeff's face turned a sickly shade of green. Nina covered her eyes with her hands. Cassidy swallowed, but she didn't run or hide. She grabbed the fiddle and the tiny dish from Jeff. Then she ran and faced Ozzy. Never, she said. We're taking Calliope and Kokomo back where they belong. Calliope floated hopelessly above the fiddle with Kokomo cradled in her arms. We don't want to go, she cried softly. We want to sing, 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 play, play, play. That's exactly why you have to go home, Cassidy said. She turned her back on Ozzy and headed toward the door. Let's go, she yelled to Jeff and Nina, but the 3 didn't get very far. Ozzy, Nate, Edgar, Becky, and Sadie surrounded them. The ghosts filled their cheeks with air and blew hard. Nina and Jeff and Cassidy were caught in a fierce whirlwind. Desks were smashed against the wall. Chairs tumbled. Cassidy, Jeff, and Nina held on to each other to keep from being blown away. The harder the ghosts blew, there's all the mess that the ghosts are causing. It was time for the 3 friends to make their way to the door, but they never gave up. Together they pulled themselves along the walls until they reached the door. Cassidy threw open the door that led to the playground. Calliope and Kokomo had no choice. They had to leave the basement. Halfway up the steps, Cassidy heard something so terrible she couldn't move. What is it? Nina said. Whatever it is, it's hurting my ears, Jeff said. Cassidy cautiously peeked back in the classroom. The ghosts were no longer the size of giants. They had collapsed on the floor like wasted balloons. Sadie was crying. Edgar was ripping pages from his journal. Becky pounded her little fists on the floor and screamed, No, no, no! Her fists sank into the floorboards with each word. Together the ghosts made a noise worse than anything the kids had heard in their lives, worse than the sound of the ghost band. No, 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 Becky bawled. Bring them back, Nate yelled. No fair, Ozzy said. It's so sad, Sadie sobbed. We'll never forget this, Edgar said, and we won't let you forget either. Even Huxley whined because Kokomo was gone. This is worse than ever, Nina said. They'll never leave us alone. What are we going to do now? Chapter 12. Success. Cassidy stood at the classroom door. The furniture had all been blown to one side of the floor. The ghosts were scattered in the middle of the room. Mr. Morton was bound to walk in any minute. Cassidy had to do something, and she had to do it fast. Calliope and Kokomo belong at the Blackburn estate, Cassidy told the ghost. She tried to reason with them, but she didn't sound as sure as before. Our classroom is no place for her music. This room is our home, Ozzy pointed out. We can play music if we want. Your music is ruining our play, Jeff sputtered. Ozzy laughed so hard he bounced up and down. He bounced so high his head smashed into the ceiling. What's so funny? Jeff asked. Edgar cleared his throat. Actually, your class is ruining the play, he said. You don't know what it was really like back in our times. Your script has so many mistakes. Mistakes? Jeff said. How can my script be wrong? Well, Becky said, her hands on her hips, all you let the girls do is stitch and bake. We did lots of other things. And in the scene before the bullfight, you have the characters listening to some odd contraption called a radio, Ozzy said. We don't even know what a radio is. Jeff's ears turned red. He looked like he was going to explode. Nina interrupted before Jeff blew his top. Why don't you help us? She asked the ghost. That way our play will be good and correct. That's it, Cassidy said. If you help us with the play, we won't bring Calliope and Kokomo back to the Blackburn estate. For now. The ghost agreed. For the rest of the week, the kids listened to the ghosts and made changes to the script. Then Calliope taught them songs that were sung in the 1800s. Instead of singing their own songs on the day of the play, Ozzy and the Howlers sang back up to Jeff and the rest of the cast. Of course, nobody but Jeff, Nina, and Cassidy could hear them, although some kids were amazed that it sounded like a fiddle was playing along with them. But that was okay. With a little help from their ghost friends, the play was a great success. Jeff had to admit that even though he wasn't the star, he liked being Pa, and Andrew was a pretty good Travis. Nina made a great Ma, and everyone laughed when she grabbed little Arliss's ear and promised to switch him if he didn't quit swimming naked in the drinking water. Cassidy was quite the hit as Old Yeller. Her grandfather had helped her make a dog's ear out of felt. Even Carla and Darla's little brother cheered for Cassidy, and Mr. Morton absolutely beamed. I'm glad we didn't make Calliope and Kokomo go back to the Blackburn estate, Nina said after the rest of the classmates had left for the day. Cassidy, Nina, and Jeff were packing up to go home. Making a compromise was the best thing of all, Jeff said. Working together made our play a success. Cassidy turned out the light and closed the door to the empty classroom. As soon as she did, the three kids heard a high-pitched sound coming from inside their basement room. What is it? Nina asked. The kids held their breath so they could hear. It was a voice singing a song. But it wasn't a song from the 1800s. It was a brand new song. Friends I haven't known for long, make me sing a happy song. It's Calliope, Jeff said with a grin, and she's singing a song about us. Maybe now it won't be so bad sharing our room with a bunch of ghosts, Cassidy said hopefully. Just then Cassidy heard Ozzy's voice. He was changing the words to Calliope's song, and the new words weren't very nice at all. Some new friends are a pain in the pants, but now they are gone, I'll do a little dance. Becky started laughing, but Sadie wailed, no. Kokomo yawled and Hexley howled. Something crashed to the floor, and from the sound of it, it was something very big. And then again, Cassidy said, I could be wrong. Ghost wrong. And that is the end of our story, Ghostville Elementary Stage Fright. I hope everybody has enjoyed our series that we read together. Let me know in the comments below if you like this book, if you'd like to hear more like this, or what you would like me to hear, what age group, what genre. It doesn't matter. I've got all kind of books, from toddlers to tweens to teens to adults. Just let me know, and I will, if I don't have them, I will get them. So everybody stay safe, stay home if you can, and turn on Reading with Grandma and enjoy some stories. Bye for now.